Here's everything you need to know about the second half of the Red Sox season. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and the second half of the Red Sox 2024 season kicked off last night. I put that in air quotes because it's not technically halfway through the year, but it's close enough to call it the second half. And coming into the second half, there is a whole lot to pay attention to with this Red Sox team. So what I figured the best thing to do would be to wrap it all up in one nice video, and that's exactly what we're doing today. What we're going to do in today's video is break down the biggest storylines surrounding the Boston Red Sox and the things that we as fans need to be paying attention to as this season moves on. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Number one, the most obvious thing to pay attention to at the end of the day is the play on the field. Can the Red Sox sustain the level of success that they saw in the first half of the season? Right now, the Boston Red Sox are a playoff team. Before the break started, they were making a serious push at becoming contenders for this division. Can they continue to do that as the season wears on? Right now, it feels like they might be able to, but there is a lot of competition here. The Yankees hopefully are going to be terrible for the rest of the year, but most realistically, they probably will get themselves right at some point. The Astros were on fire coming into the break. The Royals have been solid all season. Can the Red Sox continue to play the way that they have been playing so far this year? They also have the hardest schedule by winning percentages left in the entire sport for the rest of the season. Now, obviously, that can change as teams lose or win more games, but at the end of the day, the biggest storyline you need to be paying attention to with this Red Sox team is ultimately the win-loss record on the field. Number two, specifically, has to do with the sustainability of the starting pitching. We've talked about this a whole lot on this channel, but as of this moment, the Boston Red Sox are headed into completely uncharted territory with this pitching staff. For the most part, in the first half of this season, they were pretty solid. There were points during the first half that didn't look all that great, especially over the last month and a half, where the offense has really been the driving force of this team. In fact, over the last 30 days, they are the 16th best ERA in Major League Baseball, putting them in the bottom half of the league. But can they continue to pitch the way that they have pitched right now over the next 2 months? Taking a look at this rotation, you've got Tanner Houck, the ace of this pitching staff, who is already 11 innings over his previous career high. Your workhorse, Cutter Crawford, is just about 17-ish innings away, basically 2 or 3 starts away from getting to his career high. Cooper Criswell only has 58 total innings, but that's 25 more innings than he's ever pitched at the big league level. And the two guys who are in this rotation to be those sort of workhorses, to be that sort of proven commodity, Bello and Nick Pivetta, are the only two in this rotation right now who are immensely struggling. There is going to be a whole lot of pressure on not only these guys who haven't really had this kind of pressure on their arms before, but there's going to be maybe even more pressure on guys like Pivetta and Bello to really get themselves back and get themselves to turn a corner heading into the second half of the year. There are probably 100 different questions we could ask about this rotation heading into the second half of the season, and they're all going to have to be answered very quickly between both the deadline and if they could continue to play this way before October. But either way, this one is absolutely a massive storyline to pay attention to. Pardon the interruption, everybody. I just want to take a quick second, and if you're enjoying this video, do me a favor. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button. We do stuff like this every day but Sunday. Don't forget to also hit that like button as well. It just helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying the content we are putting out. Thank you all very much. Again, I apologize for the interruption. Let's get back to the video. Storyline number 3 is injuries. It's been the story of the Red Sox in the first half. It probably will be the story of the Red Sox in the second half, although hopefully, right, knock on wood, it's an entirely different story than what we saw in the first half, because right now the Red Sox are fairly healthy, but there are a lot of major pieces still making their way back from the IL. Tristan Casas, who started swinging again, Liam Hendricks, who continues to throw bullpens and inch his way back from the IL, Vaughn Grissom, who I know for some reason a lot of people have totally given up on, 22 games into his 6 years of arbitration with this Red Sox team, is starting to get healthy. What do they look like when they get back? And how does that impact the Boston Red Sox? When you're looking at Tristan Casas, can he come back and be the player that he was before he went down? Can he come back and impact this lineup immediately the way that the Red Sox kind of need him to? And if he does, what do they do with someone like Dom Smith, who has been really productive for the Red Sox as of late? Liam Hendricks, when he comes back, is he going to be that all-star caliber closer that the Red Sox are hoping he becomes over the next year or so of his contract? Or is it going to take him a little bit to ramp up to being that closer? And if it does, what do they do with Kenley Jansen? Does Kenley become expendable at this year's deadline? Or do the Red Sox decide that the better idea, and in my opinion the better idea, is to have Liam Hendricks come back as an 8th inning reliever and still keep Kenley Jansen in that closer role? And finally, with Vaughn Grissom, can Vaughn Grissom get fully healthy for the first time this season? And if he does, what does he look like on the field? Is the Vaughn Grissom that we saw in just 22 games at the beginning of the year the Vaughn Grissom that the Red Sox ended up getting from Chris Sale? If it's not, can he play well enough to beat out David Hamilton to be an everyday second baseman? There are a ton of question marks surrounding these guys as well, and that's not even including Chris Martin and Justin Slayton, who have been major pieces of the Red Sox bullpen in the first half, who have been down on the IL. Can they get back in a timely manner? What do the Red Sox do to replicate or replace their production in this bullpen? There are a ton of injury questions, but at least the good news is, again, knock on wood, it's not the same type of injury news that we were getting over the first half. Number 4, the trade deadline. Duh, right? Everybody's talking about the trade deadline. We've been talking endlessly about the Red Sox trade deadline this year. Anywhere you go to listen to Red Sox podcasts, watch Red Sox content, we're talking about the MLB deadline, and that's for good reason. The Red Sox are in a prime position right now to do some serious damage at the deadline, but there's still a ton of questions remaining. As fans, 95% of us, I would say 99% of us, are expecting the Red Sox to be buyers at this year's deadline. And if they are, what does that look like? Are the Red Sox going to be willing to go out there and give up what it takes to get what this team needs to push it over the edge? Or are they a little bit timid and they end up not doing enough? There are a couple other questions here because we don't know which way the Red Sox are going at this year's deadline. Do they stand pat? Do they say, well, wait a second here, we believe in this team strong enough where we're not going to sell off the pieces that could bring us back a whole lot of something, but we're also not in the belief that you are worthy of adding any monetary value to? What does that do to this clubhouse, and is that a possibility for the Red Sox front office? And finally, obviously, the one thing I think Red Sox fans are dying to avoid, if the Red Sox end up staying pat on what they wanted to do at the beginning of the season, which is basically sell off anything worth any value at the MLB deadline, and that's what they decide to do, disappointing everyone. What does that do to this fan base? What does that do to this clubhouse? And what does that mean for the future of this Red Sox team? There are a whole lot of questions right now surrounding the Red Sox deadline. It is probably the most talked about thing in the entire world, but at the same time too, everything we have talked about up until this point in these storylines are all going to impact the deadline in a different way. 1, the winning, right? Can they keep winning? 2, is their pitching enough to get them through, or do they need reinforcements? My answer is they absolutely need reinforcements, but I don't run this team. And 3, how are the injuries, or people coming back from injury more specifically, going to impact the Red Sox strategy? And finally, the last Red Sox storyline doesn't really, in my opinion, have a whole lot to do with the Major League Club. You could say one of the bigger major storylines are individual accomplishments. Say Don Rafaela going for Rookie of the Year, Tanner Houck in the conversation for Cy Young, Jarren Duran playing every single game, getting MVP votes, Rafael Devers in MVP votes, right? Those are things to pay attention to. But in my opinion, something I'm paying attention to a little bit more than that are the Red Sox prospect promotions and progressions. Now, obviously, this doesn't have anything to do with the big league club, but the Red Sox have some of the most exciting prospects in this system right now than they have had in a very long time. And a lot of those guys are either getting really close to getting closer to Major League Baseball, or they're getting really close to being effective weapons at the Major League level. We've seen the Red Sox utilize depth that I don't even think the Red Sox knew was there this season. Can they do the same in the second half of the season with the players that they have in this minor league system? And I'm not even talking talking about just the big three. Although I will say it's going to be exciting to see them move up very soon here, right now that the break is over. But the other guys too, guys like Nick York, Nick Sogard, Chase Meidroth, Matthew Lugo, Richard Fitz are all potential possibilities to have a legitimate impact on this team if they're still here after the MLB deadline. Can the September call-ups give the Red Sox the sustainability that they need to help them as they push towards October? There are going to be a whole lot of interesting conversations to be had with both the players that survived the trade deadline if they do end up buying, and two, with the players that are getting close to Major League ready, not to mention with the draft having been completed over the next few weeks or even few months, you're going to start to see some of that effect hit the Red Sox system. Some of these pitchers that they picked up, we're going to get our first glimpse of possibly the next wave of Red Sox homegrown pitching. We're going to see possibly some of these young, exciting players that the Red Sox picked up start their journey towards Major League Baseball. And to me, that's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch. So those are my big 5 storylines to pay attention to for the Red Sox second half. Now, there are, again, a ton of things we need to pay attention to for this Red Sox team, but overall, I think in terms of everything, looking at it as a whole, I absolutely love the fact that I'm coming into the second half of a season not nervous, not expecting failure, but excited. I am excited to watch this Red Sox team. I'm excited to see what it can do, and I'm excited to follow along because this year it feels special, man. It really feels like there is something in particular about this team that you could just latch onto and easily root for. They're fun, they're competitive, and they are absolutely worth not only your investment, but your time as well. However, that is just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think? What are your biggest storylines to pay attention to in the second half of the season? Are they the same as mine, or is there something else that I missed? Let me know all your thoughts on things that you need to know about the 2024 Red Sox in the second half in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Sox almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just helps out a ton. It's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying the content we are putting out. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.